All right, and here we go. Wide and back, and back, and back, back. Good, good. Those of you who win, you're rewarded by keep playing the game. Those of you who don't win, you'll pay the price. Good pressure, Brick. Don't let him turn. Come on, get there, get there. Score!
I played soccer since I was 5. Never wanted to play another sport, really. It's just something that I've always felt passionate about.
You know, a lot of people call it the beautiful game. That's what it's known as throughout the world.
It really does have an art form to it.
It's exciting, it can be fast, it can be slow.
All you need is a ball, and you can make a goal out of anything.
The thing I like most about soccer is that just through all the stresses in life, as soon as I step on the soccer field, it's kind of cheesy, but I'm at peace with myself.
Fail? Yeah.
I played at NC State. I really enjoyed it. I got a lot of playing time.
Yes.
As I went on my mission, my perspectives changed somewhat and a couple different priorities. One of them was an opportunity to be in an environment where there were individuals who shared the same religious beliefs that I had.
Forget about the center of the park. We could just paint you guys a line down the sideline, and that is your spot.
BYU's mission as a whole is certainly to be the arm of the church that educates and develops our young leaders in the church. You know, I'm not sure that this is a primary concern, wins and losses. I think we're talking about developing the person, developing the player in this case.
Gentlemen, you've got to want to score worse.
I don't think there's a correlation between righteousness and necessarily winning. That took me a few years to figure out. But I am convinced that, you know, good players provide good results more often than not, but only because they're working hard, they're united, and they have good chemistry.
Go again. One more time.
I played soccer my freshman year at the University of South Carolina. Previously, I told University of South Carolina that I was going to serve an LDS mission after my sophomore year, but I just felt like I needed to go after my freshman year. They were still going to hold my scholarship. During my mission, I just decided to go to BYU.
I went to George Mason University, played 2 fall seasons there, and then I went on a mission. Prior to leaving on my mission, I talked to the coach at George Mason about that, and he wasn't so excited about the idea of me going away for 2 years and coming back and not having played soccer for that amount of time. And so BYU just felt better at that time.
Notice that it says he yielded to death. Death couldn't conquer him.
Okay, you Mason stay in the back, you guys stay in the midfield.
They all sacrifice an awful lot to wear the BYU jersey and really more importantly, to have a seat in the classroom. On top of that, they sacrifice a lot of their their personal life. They have to go to bed relatively early to be at practice and ready to go at 7 o'clock every morning. They sacrifice, most of them have to have a job because they've given up the scholarship. So they've really given up a lot, and I think that's one of the secrets to our success. These guys have given up so much that they really want to make what they've given. You know, they've given up so much they want to make it work.
I never planned to come into BYU, but one of my last companions in the mission told me that they weren't a club anymore. They were a semi-pro team, so I thought that was good.
We've got to make sure we're turning it up a notch here.
We won 4 national championships in 5 years, and so we had kind of proven ourselves, and there was a lot of talk, well, why don't you go NCAA? And there's a lot of issues around why you can't just call yourself an NCAA team. There's Title IX and a lot of other administrative issues that can get in the way of that. So we were looking for a creative way to really make a special program, not one that followed anybody else, but one that kind of created the model for developing players and challenging players that are college age. We play in a league that's primarily designed for those who are looking to make the next level, the jump from college to professional careers in soccer. So it's kind of the top college players that play in this league. It's a good opportunity for the very best players to get together and play during the summer for an 18-game schedule.
We are packing all the stuff that was donated for our Mexican trip in boxes that me and Cam got from the dumpster. I actually climbed in the dumpster and threw boxes out to Cam. Yeah, it is a felony.
We actually almost got caught, but it's for a good cause. So.
I've had a couple of trips with the team to Mexico before. That is, you get a lot of opportunities to be a missionary in that situation too.
When you go down there and meet with, you have the dual purpose. You want to play good soccer, develop your players, prepare yourself the best you can for the season, but at the same time touch as many members as you can.
Surely there's more people within the church who are interested in soccer than there are in any other sport. That's a safe bet, especially now that there's more members of the church outside the United States than inside. So we feel like we have a unique responsibility to represent the church and the university internationally. And so we do it. We do it every year, and we sacrifice, scrimp, and save to make sure we can continue to do it.
Okay, anybody else? We all paid up? It's that unfortunate time of the trip that everybody has to pay for the cost of the flight. The team covers a portion of it. Team covers kind of the land portion of it, and the players cover the cost of the flight. The guys have to sacrifice a lot. It's not easy for a lot of them to put together this kind of money.
Todd Ferguson's one of the coach. His ward donated clothes, and also BYU donated a bunch of clothes.
A lot of players donated cleats. We had soccer balls. We had just BYU t-shirts, stickers, hats.
When Coach Watkins walked into the training room, he just looked at all the boxes. He's like, how are we going to get all these to Mexico?
What we ended up doing is we had so much stuff to take down that everybody checked in a box. So we had 26 players, 24 players, and every one of them had a box of stuff that we checked in with, as well as our luggage. And so we were responsible for that box the majority of the trip.
Ladies and gentlemen, all your carry-on items that you have brought on board must be securely put.
I was really excited for the trip. I think we all were. There's a lot of kind of anxious feelings as to what we were going to experience. So for the most part, just excited.
I told the team I want to be better the next time we step on Haas Field, our practice field. I want to be better when we come back than we are today, and I have no doubt that we will. One loss or one win isn't going to matter a whole lot to me, or 4 losses or 4 wins doesn't matter, as long as when we come back to our home field and we're a better team. All the travel, all the preparation will be worth it as far as soccer's concerned if we can come back and be a much better team when we hit our field again.
Háblame solamente en español.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. That's Spanish, dude.
Okay. That wasn't.
That wasn't either.
Pachuca is a great facility, as we can see. Been around for a long time, great team.
By far, it's the best facility that I've set foot on in all my years playing soccer.
We went there and we just had a nice light training session because we knew we had a game in the afternoon, so we just went over some set pieces and played some small-sided games. Before we left, we were able to see the first and second team just sort of scrimmage against each other.
First team of Pachuca is having a really spirited practice, having a great time at practice, really celebrating and showing the passion that they had for the game.
It was fun. It was fun to see the intensity and mostly that. Like they're very passionate about soccer.
Pachuca is a very important spot for not only Mexicans, but soccer in general in Latin America. When we went 4 years earlier, we went to that stadium, but just as part of the tour, to look at it and say, hey, this is where the first match of soccer was played in Mexico. It was pretty remarkable to be standing there and looking around, just getting ready for that match, and it was a great field, and we were playing one of the most famous clubs down in Mexico.
We had to do well against the first Pachuca team we played in order to play against the reserve team.
So there's a little bit of pressure on us. Obviously, we wanted to perform well, not just to play the other team, but as our first game there.
I guess in the past they've had some American teams go down there and they've played against the reserves and they just gotten killed. So I think the Pachuca coaches were there and they wanted to see how we would pair against the third team, and we actually played really well.
It was a great game. We finished some balls.
Yep.
The guys worked hard. Bingo. And I think they came together, and that was really the start of what has become quite a nice season for us.
Hey, Trav, nice run.
It was younger kids that we were playing against, but kids that were getting paid to play soccer. You know, so that's a very rewarding feeling. The plan was going into the city center of Pachuca, just heading into town. We'd get dropped off by the bus and picked up, I think it was 2 hours later or something like that.
It was fun. We found a little place that got some tacos, and a bunch of guys got a little diarrhea and just the normal Mexican experience on the streets, so that was fun.
Then as we were walking around, I think it was in the city center, there's a few bands out there that were just playing music.
The mariachi band was out there and we paid them a couple bucks to play some songs, and just kind of had the Mexican experience.
We were told before we went down on the trip that we were going to be doing a service project.
From the very beginning, that was one of the hardest things to set up. I would call organizations and say, hey, we're a soccer team coming down to play Pachuca, and we'd like to spend this Saturday doing service for you guys. 3 or 4 told me no, they thought it was a prank, you know?
We hadn't had any sleep. It was crazy schedule. By the time we flew down there, the next day we woke up early to go to practice. Saturday morning, and we wake up and we head out to this to this neighborhood.
Turned out we went down and painted basically a whole neighborhood. Curbs on streets, we painted playgrounds, swing sets, basketball courts.
We seriously went on for like 2 miles, and we painted until like 4 in the afternoon. And it ended up being really a cool experience, because as we were painting the curbs, everybody started coming out from their house and started helping us and started asking questions about what we were doing and why we were here. Everybody was inviting all these people to the local church because they're so used to that on their missions that they just did it naturally. And we started talking about the church, and it was tiring. Now that I look back on it, it was a good experience.
They gave us some creative license on the basketball court. It was slash, street soccer court there. So we went with it. We're BYU Soccer. We put that logo on there. We're sponsored a bit by Adidas. We'll go ahead and put Adidas logo on there too. And they were wide open to it. They wanted some color on their court, and we provided it. But really the highlight for me, as I look back on that day, was playing soccer with the little kids. I had a ball.
It was a really fun time. That was one of the highlights of the trip for me.
Brock Trejo went and visited his grandmother.
It was a good opportunity for me to ditch out of the service project and go see my family. So,
got out of work. He has a habit of doing that. I'm not quite sure how he does it, but we were fine with that family.
Yeah. My dad's from Mexico. He grew up in Tulancingo, Hidalgo, which is very near Pachuca. So I grew up knowing that my father was Mexican, but never knowing or ever meeting my extended family, that all of his family lives in Mexico.
Yo tengo una historia muy única, es muy interesante de hecho, Pero yo fui criado en California. Toda mi vida yo sabía que tenía familia aquí en México, pero nunca los conocí. Y serví la misión en la Florida y nunca hablamos español en la casa. Entonces yo aprendí mi español en la misión. Regresó de la misión a la casa y mi papá dijo que íbamos a México para visitar a mi familia. Y yo dije, oh, qué súper padre, voy a visitar a mi familia mexicana. He querido ser mexicano por años. Entonces vinimos a México, a la ciudad, y quería hacer todo lo que hace un mexicano. Entonces comimos tamales, maté a un perro manejando un carro, ¿qué tal? Fui robado en el metro, pero la cosa más impresionante fue que yo conocí a mi familia. Y yo sabía que tenía familia aquí en México, pero no entendí que realmente tenía familia.
I had the phone numbers of my uncle, and he lives in the state of Mexico, which is right next to Mexico City. So I called him, and at the drop of the hat, they came out. They took me to my grandma's house. We stayed there for a couple hours. And my aunt Chela, she's a really remarkable individual. She has 2 kids, and she takes care of my grandma. She's had to give up a lot of things to be able to take that role as her daughter. So it was really fun for her and me as well, to see each other again.
Y la cosa que me impactó lo más es que cuando entré el cuarto de mi abuelita, ella no está muy bien, ahorita está un poquito mal, me impresionó bastante que había una persona aquí mismo en Tulancingo que me había querido por años y ni lo sabía. Y empecé a entender la esencia de la familia, que realmente, aunque no me conocía muy bien, me amaba.
Like I just feel this deep connection with them, and I don't really know them that well, but to see her was it's almost overwhelming.
Y empecé a entender que por dentro de la iglesia nosotros también tenemos obligaciones. Pero la cosa que entendí cuando conocí a mi abuela fue que cuando conocemos al Señor, entenderemos cuánto nos amaba cuando estuvimos aquí. Tengo mucho amor por ustedes. Nosotros realmente sentimos una amistad con ustedes y una obligación como familia en el Evangelio. Y digo estas cosas en el nombre de Jesucristo. Amén.
The next day was Sunday, and it was the day of rest, but we did not rest at all.
Split up the team, went in 2s and 3s, and went into all of the different branches.
To visit 14 different sacrament meetings as a team that Sunday morning. More than anything, that was the purpose of our trip. To be there in their sacrament meetings with the people involved and interactive, with individuals from a different country of the same religious belief, and that was, in retrospect, the best part of the trip by far.
It was a lot of fun. The talks were good. The guys really did a great job rising to the occasion on that. Not one person on the team didn't at least give a talk or a Sunday school lesson that day, and many of them did 2 talks and a Sunday school lesson on the same day. So it was a great day, and all of us coming together at the end of the day, the stories that were told were really a lot of fun.
The first time we played Pachuca, there was maybe 20 or 30 people there, and they were Pachuca fans or maybe parents of the kids. So when we walked in for our second Pachuca game, we were expecting the same thing.
All of our speaking on Sunday, part of what we do once church is over, and maybe some of the guys mix it in with their talk, is we've got a game, at the stadium in Pachuca.
That Monday was actually a holiday in Mexico, if I'm correct. And so everybody was out of school or out of work.
We were warming up, people start flooding in on the other side, and they basically fill the whole side of the stadium over there.
There was about 2,000 members that showed up at this game. Just packed the stadium, and it was really cool.
They were screaming and yelling, and the whole entire game, they would not stop chanting or singing.
right before halftime, the kid was dribbling in the back on Pachuca, and I just took the ball from him and just ran it up and just took a shot. It was crazy because all the fans there just started going crazy. I thought they were all Pachuca fans, so I ran over to the sideline, just put my hands up, and everybody was cheering and waving.
I'm sure Pachuca, the reserve team, was wondering, where are these guys coming from? They come from a state of Utah, and all these people are out here cheering for them.
The crowd was very loud, and it seemed to get more and more full as the game went on, and louder in our favor as the game went on too. So it was a ton of fun. It was one of those games where you finish the game and you feel like everything went right.
We were firing on all cylinders, it felt like.
Yes! 2,000 voices in unison. They'd be over there just chanting BYU, BYU. For me, that's the best atmosphere that I've played in as a BYU player.
Come on, bro, here we go, come on!
Let's go! It ended up 4-1 for us. Had some great goals from Dave Clark. Travis Wynn had a nice goal.
You know, towards the end of the game, coaches turning to me saying, hey, can you feel those chills that I can feel right now?
Because these fans were here supporting us, we obviously had to do something for them.
We went over to where the stands were at the end there and threw out some t-shirts and things like that, and little things for little kids, souvenirs and stuff.
We said a prayer, and right after the prayer we ran over to that side. There's this huge fence, and the fans again just ran right down to the fence, and they were just yelling and cheering for us. And then the fans started singing Ole Ole, and we started singing too, and we were jumping up and down, and it was just crazy.
That's just, it's a neat feeling for us, especially that does more for us than it does for them, I'm sure.
It was perfect. Our goal going down was to get ready for the season, develop our guys while we're down there, but also affect the lives of these members. And so during that game, to see how many showed up and afterwards talking with them, and to have had such a great soccer match, both purposes were fulfilled right there.
Uno, dos, tres, Cougars!
Tuesday kind of started off odd.
The drive into Mexico City was horrible. It ended up taking like 2 hours. There was so much traffic.
And we were on the bus a lot longer than we should have been on the bus before a game.
We basically stepped off the bus, and had to get our stuff on to play the next game.
Seemed like we had a good warm-up, we're ready for the game, and then the guys just came out flat and never got out of it.
Quick, keep it moving. Come on, can we play that first time? Tyson, wing, let's go!
We just didn't perform that well.
I missed maybe 2 or 3 breakaways. We just weren't in sync like we were the day before.
And unfortunately that day, the bottom just fell out. The performance was not there. It was a very disappointing effort.
Yeah, after the second Pachuca game, when we had like 2,000 LDS members screaming in the stands for us and all that, that was really exciting. To this one, it was definitely a low rather than a high.
Come on, Jake, we need advantage there! I didn't think Cruz Azul gave us their best players to play against. And as a result, I really wanted to beat them. I really wanted our players to come out and play their best, and it didn't happen. The ref should call a game on a kind of ugliness. It's disgusting.
We ended up tying the game 0-0 to a decent Cruz Azul team. After the game, he sat us down, and he was very negative towards how we played, and he did not say one positive thing the whole entire time.
All right, guys, this is the worst team we'll see all year. They were horrible. Every one of you was a better athlete than they were. I assume this is as bad as we can be. If I were you guys, I would be unbelievably embarrassed as a forward right now. Unbelievably.
And to most of us, it was quite a shock, especially those of us that played. And he called the Cruz Azul team that we played that day a lot worse than the previous 2 teams we had played and beaten, which most of us didn't agree with.
I think some of our players got the message that day, for the most part, but all of them needed to hear it because 1 through 11 on that field, the effort wasn't there and wasn't deserving of a BYU jersey.
People were mad, angry, felt abused, I guess, verbally.
Yeah, they were discouraged, definitely, and especially because we were so disappointed and hard on them. A lot of guys talked to me about, well, I feel like we didn't play that bad. It was a little unfair.
And I think if you talk to anybody that's ever played a sport competitively, they thought that about their coach at some point or another.
And so the mood was obviously a lot different from the day before. Nobody spoke on the bus on the way home.
As a coach, it's really a fine line. We want to build confidence, but you also want players to understand the reality of their performance. And sometimes you have to call a spade, and clearly in that game it was an effort that was unacceptable.
So it was a good experience. Sometimes those, when you play poorly, you get a lot more out of the game than when you go out and you win a big game.
So the same evening of the day we played the Cruz Azul game, we were scheduled to play the soccer team from the Benemerito High School.
Well, first of all, Benemerito is a high school in Mexico City for kids who are members of the church. So these kids come from all over, from different regions of Mexico to attend this all-Mormon school. So it's pretty much like a BYU, but a high school, and it's in Mexico.
So we show up to the high school, they're all warming up, getting ready to go. There's clouds, thunder starting to roll in, lightning, rain's coming down.
And everybody crowds under this pavilion thing. They call the game for like, I don't know, 20 minutes because of lightning.
Jorge Garcia's from Mexico City, went to Benemerito, and was really looking forward. You could see it in his eyes as we're talking about this game as a team, as we're preparing for this game. You could see he was very hungry, very anxious to go out and play in front of his friends, literally his friends. He's not that far removed from there.
But after some delays, the game got played. We won 1-0. Jorge scored a great goal, just a cracked one from like 25-30 out, hit the crossbar and went in.
It was good for Jorge, I think, just to score in a game, to play in a game, and also to play against his old high school and score.
As we walked over from the soccer game to the basketball gymnasium, we were under the impression that we're going to play some pickup with some of the basketball guys and just kind of mess around. And
lo and behold, it was, it was right out of Hoosiers, that atmosphere that we went in. It was absolutely unbelievable. I'm not sure I've ever seen anything like it in my life.
Basically the entire school. I think there's probably about 2,500 people in this gymnasium, standing room only. But it was just so fun because they were so supportive of Benemerito, and there's just kind of this playful nature of booing and cheering, and it's a pretty unique experience.
Yeah, you're talking complete opposite ends of the spectrum, being down, frustrated, angry, in bad mood, to hey, this is great, joyous and just laughing a lot, having a good time, and totally forgetting the experience of the Cruz Azul game earlier.
Club America is one of those clubs that everyone, whether you're in Europe or Latin America, knows who that is.
We get there and we see him warming up, and Jorge's like, oh yeah, that guy, he played last week in the first team, and that guy did too. And that guy, so like 4 or 5 other players had just played the week before.
We come in on a bus and they were coming in on BMWs and Mercedes, and these were real players. Nice read, Hugh. Nice read, Hugh. Well done.
I think it was 0-0 at halftime, and in the second half, I think we actually settled down and played better than we did in the first half offensively, but we ended up giving away 3 goals.
That game was very important to us. I was glad that Cruz Azul game wasn't our last game, because we were able to come back, bounce back, play a good game regardless of the score, and leave Mexico with confidence, which was what was the most important thing.
And I thought our performance was quite good. We can lose a game, and if we work hard and play hard, we're going to be fine. And I thought at that game we worked hard enough to be proud of our effort and to say we were a better team when we came home than we left. Wednesday night, we had our fireside at Benemerito in their auditorium. The place was packed, and it was really a great atmosphere. The guys who spoke that night really kind of wrapped the whole trip up, and really wrapped the purpose of the schools, of the church's educational system together. In that our players had served missions and were getting married in the temple, and that they have the same goals we do.
We felt honored to be able to talk to that many people and be able to share our experiences with them to help them with their own life, so the feeling was overwhelming. Everybody got a lot out of that night. At
the end of the night, we give them, I believe, 16, maybe 18 boxes Mostly sports equipment. It had taken us quite a while to collect all those things. We really called in a lot of favors to get people to donate that much equipment. But it was really nice to see it had gone somewhere where it was going to get a lot of use to people who truly appreciate it.
Creo que el ejemplo de los jóvenes que han venido con el equipo de fútbol soccer de la Universidad de Brigham Young es muy bueno, y nuestros muchachos se dan cuenta de la calidad humana de ellos y del deseo de poder servir. Creo que eso va a ser una gran influencia.
A los jóvenes de aquí del Benemérito les ha impactado favorablemente esta visita porque les da visión de a dónde pueden llegar ellos si siguen preparándose, si siguen siendo obedientes. Nunca van a olvidar el dulce espíritu de cada uno de ellos. Nunca vamos a olvidar su semblante limpio, su sonrisa, su mano amiga, su fortaleza física. Son gigantes ante nosotros, pero especialmente les vimos en esta visita a estos jóvenes de BYU como gigantes espirituales.
The trip was a huge success. It was everything I think every BYU tour group should expect and should try to put together. And I think we were able to kind of provide a good springboard for our season and really for some future success for our program.
As I sat on the plane, and I'm sure a lot of guys did this, thinking back on the trip and everything that we accomplished within this week and how many lives we were able to change, what really was this satisfying feeling.
As important as soccer is, even more important is the kind of relationships that you make in this life.
I'm grateful for the chances that I've had. I don't know if I've deserved them, but I have them. So I'm gonna do my best and keep going.
Our goal was to be the very best college soccer program, and we also want to develop the very best kids within our program, and we're well on our way to do that.